I'm going to give you the headline and tell you it really shouldn't be a headline, and that's really what we're going to be focusing in on. 3 Republicans will be voting for Joe Biden's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Wow, and it has made dozens and dozens of headlines, and yet it really shouldn't even be a headline. The reason that this is a headline is because Supreme Court confirmations have become so brazenly partisan that it actually makes news when just a few Republicans are able to say, wait a second, in the Senate, we're supposed to determine, is this a qualified individual to be on the court? And if he or she is, then we should vote to confirm. It seems quaint. It seems almost antiquated. It seems sort of like the way of the past, because mostly it is. And we have seen hyper-partisan word salad explanations as to why many Republicans are not going to be voting to confirm Judge Jackson. So the Associated Press reporting, Murkowski, Romney, back Jackson, all but assure confirmation. We already know about Maine Republican Senator Susan Collins, who said she would be voting for Judge Jackson's confirmation, and it just makes perfect sense. The Associated Press reporting, Republican Senators Lisa Murkowski and Mitt Romney announced they will vote to confirm Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, giving President Joe Biden's nominee a burst of bipartisan support, and all but assuring she'll become the first black female justice. Republican Susan Collins announced last week she would back Jackson, noting her stellar qualifications. All 3 Republicans said they did not expect to agree with all of Judge Jackson's decisions, but they found her extremely well qualified. Romney said Jackson more than meets the standard of intelligence, of excellence and integrity. Murkowski said she will bring to the Supreme Court a range of experience from the courtroom that few can match given her background in litigation. So she is going to be confirmed, and she should be confirmed, because the truth is she is arguably as qualified as any of the 9 justices currently on the court. I've referred to this document before that was put together, which looks at the experience and qualifications of the 9 justices currently on the court, as well as Judge Jackson's. And as you can see, Judge Jackson, if you're looking, Judge Jackson is the only of the what we're talking about 10 people, the 9 on the court plus her, who has this wide range of experience. She has public high school education, which you can argue gives a particular perspective that is useful for a justice to have. She has the Ivy League law school education as well. She was a Supreme Court clerk. She is the only of the 9+1 justices and judge to be a public defender. She is the only other than Judge Sotomayor to have been a district judge. She's the only one other than Judge Breyer to have been on a sentencing commission, and of course serving as well on as a judge on the Court of Appeals. And what's both funny and kind of disheartening to see is that many Republicans don't even really seem to know why they aren't voting for her confirmation, or at least they're not willing to say it, and maybe that's the more important thing. Earlier this week, I played a clip for you of Republican Senator Roy Blunt. He was asked by George Stephanopoulos, are you going to support her? And he said, no, I'm not. And when he was asked why, he went on like a 90-second word salad that didn't make any sense, something about judicial philosophy that was completely unintelligible. We have other examples of this. Here is Lindsey Graham recently saying he is not going to be voting to confirm Judge Jackson, but she's very qualified and smart and seems to meet all the requirements.
Judge Jackson has got a lot to be proud of. She's accomplished a lot in her life. She's a good person. I'm sure she's a great mother and very gifted person. She's fought hard to be where she's at in life. I'll vote no. I'm the first time I've ever voted against any Supreme Court nominee.
Here's another example of Lindsey Graham as well.
I find Judge Jackson to be a person of exceptionally good character, respected by our peers, and someone who has worked hard to achieve her current position. However, her record is overwhelming in its lack of a steady judicial philosophy and a tendency to achieve outcomes in spite of what the law requires or common sense would dictate. After a thorough review of Judge Jackson's record and information gained at the hearing from an evasive witness, I now know why Judge Jackson was the favorite of the radical left, and I will vote no.
So it's basically a meaningless statement. Her judicial philosophy isn't steady in its record. Now, some of you have been writing to me saying, David, you know why they're not voting for her, but they can't say it. They're not voting for her because she's black. Now, I don't have evidence that that's the case. What it does seem to me is that her identity, meaning a black woman nominated by a Democrat named Ketanji, those characteristics are making Republicans look at her record in a different way than they would if this was someone nominated by Donald Trump with a different identity. And you don't have to look much further than, for example, Lindsey Graham's vote in favor of her being appointed to the Court of Appeals where she currently sits. Lindsey Graham is not the only Republican who has said many times, well, she's very qualified for other positions. And when they're asked about this, what you'll often hear from them is they'll say, well, it's a different standard now because this is the highest court of the land. Someone that would be qualified for a lower court wouldn't necessarily be qualified for the highest court in the land. That's totally plausible. It's at least theoretically an acceptable differentiation. They just aren't able to articulate exactly what they mean, and it's very transparently pathetic. Now, one other note on Mitt Romney supporting her. Mitt Romney is a less crazy Republican. There's no doubt of that. I'm not saying I love Romney. I'm not saying I want Romney to be the president of the United States. But Mitt Romney is a far less crazy Republican than many of these other people. At the same time, we shouldn't ignore the idea that maybe Romney is trying to just kind of revive the possibility that he could run for president in the future, although I still don't think that he has plans to do that. He said before it's not something he intends to get back in. But maybe Mitt Romney, for that or other reasons, wants to kind of rehabilitate his reputation. I don't know. Now, in the meantime, the cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, or the, what would we call it? Anyway, the wacky wing of the Trump wing of the Republican Party, they are coming up with wild attacks on the three Republicans that will be supporting Judge Jackson, including Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeting, Murkowski, Collins, and Romney are pro-pedophile because they plan to support Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. That's obviously an absurd interpretation. The question is she qualified? The answer is yes, she is. The outcome, if you put these inputs into a computer and you calculate, the outcome should be we're going to vote to confirm her. And so far we know about 3 Republicans that will. It is a brand new year. Maybe you have goals around getting in better shape, maybe cutting back on sugar. That's why you should check out our longtime sponsor, Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon tastes exactly like the delicious sweet breakfast cereals you loved as a kid, but Magic Spoon has 0 grams of sugar, 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net carbs. So it's perfect if you're doing low carb or keto, or if, like me, you just try to limit your sugar intake. You can build your own variety pack with flavors like cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, cinnamon, cookies and cream, waffle maple, blueberry. That's my favorite. Magic Spoon lets you enjoy a sweet, delicious snack without the guilt. You can stick to your goals and still treat yourself. And if you don't love Magic Spoon as much as I do, they'll give you all of your money back, no questions asked. Magic Spoon is giving my audience $5 off when you go to magicspoon.com/Pacman and use the promo code Pacman.